What's up guys, my name is Spartan, and in today's video I'm actually going to be giving you 5 beginner tips that hopefully can prevent you from making some massive mistakes within your farming and ultimately just your game itself. And stick around for the entire video because the last tip that we're going to talk about is actually really important for your farming efficiency. So let's go ahead and start with tip number 1, which is going to be focusing on balance. What this pertains to is the overall progression of your account, trying to aim for balance. This looks like a few different things, but first and foremost, let's talk about the balance within the labs. Alright, so looking at the labs, you may notice a common theme, which is that there is no theme. I am not upgrading one specific category, as in I'm not just working on econ, I'm not just working on EHP, different things like that. When I'm talking about the different categories, this is really pertaining to like EHP labs. Like I would not want to have all of my labs currently doing EHP or all of my labs currently doing damage stuff. What you want to do, especially when you're a beginner, is try to have a balanced overall approach with all of your labs. And so the way that I generally will tell people to kind of do this is ideally you want to have each lab allocated to a different specific category. For example, Lab 4 for me in this case could be my Econ lab. Right now I'm working on coins per kill bonus. If I wanted to begin working on ultimate weapon coin bonuses or things like that, it would go in there. Likewise, Lab 5, I currently have health in here. Eventually, when I get this to a high enough level, I would likely move it to something like defense percentage or health regen, something like that. And alongside that, you could have a flex slot, like Lab 1 for me right now. I was working previously on econ stuff in that slot, but currently I'm working on some perk stuff, which I think will be beneficial to me. But the overall point is try to have a good balanced approach within your labs. This will pretty much just enable you to basically grow your tower in progress evenly throughout all of the different categories of these labs. And the next category within the focus on balance tip is basically going to come down to your gem spending. So this is generally the advice that I will give new players when they first start playing the game, and that is, first and foremost, you want to try to spend your gems on all 5 of these labs. You want to unlock all 5 of the labs. That is the ultimate first priority for your account. Getting all 5 of these labs done will just really speed up the overall amount of progress that you make. The sooner you get it done, the better. Just keep in mind, it does take quite a few gems, so save up. I know it's painful, but it does pay off in the end. Once you've gotten all 5 labs, this is generally how I advise new players to kind of allocate their gem spending. And that kind of goes based off of the event calendar, so let's go ahead and hop over there. Alright, so within the event calendar, you can see we get a new event every other week. We're about to get one right now. So generally speaking, what I tell new players is basically when the event first rolls over, you want to start by buying 80 cards, finishing the buy 80 cards mission. This will cost you a total of 1,600 gems. Once you've completed this mission, you then can begin working on modules if you are at the point of having modules unlocked. What that looks like is spending another 1,600 gems worth of modules, getting some good development there. After that, you can do a number of things. You can begin slowly saving up for the next event, or you can save up for things like card slots. Card slots are really valuable. You can also, if there's a lab that you really want to finish, you can go ahead and boost that lab. But the point is, whenever the event rolls over, you don't spend any gems until your buy 80 cards mission is completed. This will overall just give you a really balanced approach across both cards and modules, as well as card slots too. And now moving on to tip number 2. So tip number 2 is going to come down to what's called hit text. Hit text is basically all of these different little things that come up on the screen. You can see when enemies die, it says like $15 in cash, occasional coins. It also will tell you like how much damage you deal to various enemy types. So one thing you want to do, and this will actually help improve your coins per minute, is you want to actually go into your settings in the app. So hit the little cogwheel, go to your hit text right here, and uncheck that show all hit text. What this does is significantly reduces the amount of CPU usage going on. This is especially noticeable if you are playing on an emulator. But this basically removes a lot of clutter from the screen, and it ultimately just helps improve your coins per minute. You can see mine already started going up quite a bit just from doing that little test. And kind of piggybacking off of the hit text, the next tip that I have for you guys is actually when you are farming, try to avoid playing with a background on. This is talking about is your themes. If you go over to the themes right here, you have the option to select different things like select tower skins and you can select background skin. Some of these backgrounds that have a lot of stuff going on, like I'll use the Pixel Alien for an example, it has a lot of stuff going on, and this kind of has a similar sentiment as the hit text. The more stuff going on screen, the more frames per second is required, the more usage is required for your CPU. This can also, you guessed it, reduce your coins per minute. So trying to find little ways to maximize your econ is super important. I don't know if this is necessarily an issue if you are playing on your mobile device, but I have heard reports from people who play on emulators saying that when they play without a background on versus with, they get a lot more coin income. So again, the way that you can change that is you go to this little paintbrush thing right here, click that, you'll go to themes, then you can just unequip or equip whatever background you want. If you're hard pressed on definitely wanting to play on a background, I would just encourage you to try to pick one that maybe doesn't have as much craziness going on. Alright, and that is actually going to bring us into tip number 4. Tip number 4 has to do with milestone pushes. It's very important, especially early on, to try to push as high as you possibly can within your tiers. So you can see I currently have up to tier 13 unlocked. So the tip for you is basically, ideally you would want to try to push milestones around once per week. This could be after you do your tournament run, you could hop into the highest tier and just see how far you can get. See if you can maybe potentially unlock the next tier up. This is important for a few different reasons. Obviously, milestone rewards, you get stones, you get coins, lab research, all sorts of different things. But another really important factor is actually the milestones, the tier that you have unlocked, directly correlates to your weekly challenge mission rewards. These rewards are specifically dependent on the tier that you have unlocked. So the higher the tier, the more this reward will be. So it's really important, like once a week, try to spend, a few hours trying to get some of these milestones done so that you can start getting these better rewards. It is a balancing act, truly. You don't want to do too much milestones or too frequent milestones because you still need to try to increase your lifetime coins. You still need to try to get coins available for your workshop, for your labs, different things like that. But that's why I generally will try to advise new players to try to do at least one milestone push per week. And now moving on to our final tip, and this is really important. I feel like I was really late to the party on this one in particular, but this tip is super helpful, especially if you're farming with an EHP build. And that is, when you are farming, turn off your damage ultimate weapons until you actually need them. What this looks like is basically you would leave all of your econ producing ultimate weapons on, so Death Wave, Black Hole, Spotlight, and Golden Tower. But if you have other ultimate weapons that are damage ultimate weapons, or something like Chrono Field or something like that, you would want to turn it off. You can turn it off here, turn it back on. Just be aware, you can see right here, each time you activate or inactivate an ultimate weapon, you can only do up to 40 times per run. And that's pretty much all the tips that I had for you guys for this video. Let me know in the comment section below if you think that these tips were valuable, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, going through just kind of some basic level tips. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out quite a bit. And also consider joining our community Discord server. Lots of different players at all different stages of the game. Lots of knowledge and resources are available in that Discord server. But I highly encourage you guys to join the server and see what it's all about. Check the link in the video description below to go ahead and join the server. And lastly, if you guys make any purchases for the tower, whether it's through the in-game app or the web store, please consider using my content creator code. I have a creator code and my code is code 300. Using my creator code basically directly supports me at no extra cost to you. Just keep in mind every 30 days it will expire from your account. So I've been telling people basically if they want to support me, just double check every time you make a purchase and see if the code is still in there. You can also enter the code from the web store itself, and I'll show you guys what that looks like here. So once you get into the web store, you just have to scroll all the way to the bottom until you see support a creator. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. And with that, that's going to wrap it up. But thank you guys so much for watching. And like always, I will see you guys later.